Welcome to my views and news. Four news stories. First one is a message from Ethiopian PM Abiy. Just an hour ago, PM Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia released a message for all Ethiopians, all groups, all regions, all religions in Ethiopia. What is his message? Interesting message. He is blaming past governments of the past for what we are seeing in Ethiopia now. Secondly, protest in Washington DC was held. Several news outlets covered it live a few hours ago. The protest was held to show support for Ethiopian Orthodox Church led by Abune Matthias. It is against the protest was against the splinter group, you can say. Some Tigrayan flags were seen there too. So did Tigrayans participate in the protest or they just happened to be there? Thirdly, East Vallega, Nekemte, where a church was forcibly taken over by the splinter faction because the bishop appointed there has been expelled reportedly. And lastly, viewers, Biniam Girmay, Eritrean champion cyclist, was again in the news. First win for Biniam Girmay. He has won first stage of a road race, cycling a road race in Valencia, Spain. Firstly, viewers, PM Abiy personally issued a message an hour ago, and the message mentioned several areas where government thinks that a lot needs to be done, and that there are problems which are surfacing, but which were not created by this government. Rather, previous governments are responsible for what we are seeing now. Like the statement, the message of the Prime Minister mentions 12th grade exam results. We know that a large number of students could not make it to the universities because very small number of students pass the exam. That is why we are seeing pressure upon the government, upon Brahano Naga, the Minister of Education. Now, PM Abiy says that problems are not created overnight. Same is the case with solutions. It always takes time for problems to take root. So problems in education sector, in economic sector, religious institutions, politics, in all these fields, the problems, issues being seen are result of actions of past governments. Today's government is trying to resolve these issues, all these issues, but it will take time. The country was kept under repression. Institutions were not allowed to flourish. Security justice institutions both were under repression. And now when they are seeing freedom, problems are being seen too with this freedom. So that is why current government is fighting. It is fighting to find solutions. Solutions cannot be found overnight. The PM says that religious extremism, fractured security and justice institutions, economic challenges within religious institutions are challenges. No jobs created in the past by past governments. This government is fighting. It is trying to remove the ills created by governments of the past. Now, when did PM Abiy came to power? In 2018, I think. And we are in 2023. Almost 5 years ago, he took office. So, I think 5 years is a long term. Governments generally, they are when they win elections, parties, in most countries, term is 4 years or 5 years. So if 5 years term is not enough for the government to perform, how long will this government take to perform? This is the most important question. And secondly, I think government should share with people its plan. What are its targets? How many targets were achieved? How many are being pursued? This is the important question. Blaming past governments for what is happening today will not resolve issues. It will not solve problems. 5 years is a long term, and have you seen any revolutionary changes in Ethiopia in the past 5 years? War, 2 year long war, now conflict within the church. We saw first 1 or 2 years of PM Abiy's government with reforms, new proposals, new suggestions, foreign relations improved with neighboring countries. And there was hope that Ethiopia could be more democratic. But we are seeing that media under restrictions, judiciary under the thumb of the government, economic crisis unfolding, internal cohesion in danger as well. So overall, I think PM Abiy's government will have to change its course too. By blaming the past governments for today's problems, you cannot find solutions, I think. Secondly, in Washington, D.C., Ethiopia Orthodox Church supporters protested in front of U.S. State Department. Firstly, I am unable to understand why are Ethiopians protesting in front of U.S. State Department. What is the role of religion in the US? Does religious elders have any say in the US? Can they challenge state authority? And if there are issues between religions within religion in the US, what will the US government do? So I think this is an internal issue of Ethiopian Orthodox Church. It should be resolved internally. It's not that church elders are being persecuted, they're being put in prisons. No. So far, it's fight for power, fight for control. Factions are emerging within the church. Why is that this issue is being internationalized? Or diaspora is in the habit of protesting whenever there is an issue, there is a problem in Ethiopia. Some Tigrayan flags were seen too at the protest. And we talked to a few Tigrayans. They said that they were there to raise voice for Tigray, and a video is being shared showing Tigrayans arguing with other protesters that where were they when Aksum and Valdiba were disrespected, when Tigray Orthodox churches were target of attacks. Where were these Orthodox church followers who are now protesting in the US? Tigrayan flags were there, definitely, but Tigrayans are not admitting their presence. Most of Tigrayans I talk to, they say they just happened to be there. They were raising their voice for Tigray. I have a clip for you, clearly showing Tigrayan flags and Ethiopian flags at Washington, D.C. a protest held a few hours ago in front of U.S. State Department. Watch the clip, then next news stories. Thirdly was Oromia region of Ethiopia, where bishops loyal to Orthodox Church led by Boniface are being expelled, and churches are coming under the control of Abune Sarios led faction. East Valaga, a Nekemte city, where Abune Nathanael, a bishop, was expelled from a church reportedly, and the bishops, priests loyal to Abune Sarios have taken over this church. And this church is Membere Pipissina. Membere Pipissina is the name of the church in Nekemte, where reportedly security forces accompanied members of the Orthodox Church loyal to Abune Sarios. They stormed this church, they took control of church premises, and Abune Nathanael has been expelled reportedly. This is now happening across Oromia, and that Oromo archbishops, they have made new appointments, and new appointees are taking control of church premises, and those bishops who are loyal to Abune Mathis group, they are being expelled from the churches. Lastly, viewers, Biniam Girmay, champion Eritrean cyclist, was again on world stage last night when he won first stage of a road race, cycling road race in Valencia, Spain. 5-stage road race with 729-kilometer distance. The first stage was held in Valencia yesterday. Biniam Girmay has won the first stage of VCV 2023. This is 74th edition of this race, being organized in Valencia, Spain. Biniam is going to inspire a lot of Africans, because cycling was ruled by non-Africans mostly. But Biniam is emerging as representative of Africa in cycling world. He's part of a team, Intermarche CW, and his team is now competing in different events being held across the world.